Welcome to this deep dive. So today, I want you to start by thinking of your body as um, like a highly advanced, incredibly intricate musical instrument.
Oh, that's a great visual.
Yeah, and not just any instrument, but one that is completely self-repairing. Like it has this inherent biological intelligence and it's quietly, continuously trying to stay perfectly in tune.
Right, it's always working in the background.
Exactly. But right now, as you are listening to this, that instrument is being subjected to just an overwhelming amount of background noise. It's essentially like trying to tune a really delicate acoustic violin while standing in the front row of a heavy metal concert.
Yeah, that visualization really captures the core of the problem we're looking at today. Because, well, when we analyze human health, the default is always to focus on the physical mechanics, right? Like the chemistry, your diet, the gears and levers of biology.
It's stuff we can see and measure easily.
Exactly. We rarely consider that human bodies are fundamentally electrical systems first. I mean, we operate on these incredibly delicate electrical and magnetic fields.
Which is wild to think about.
It is. And our biological clocks, specifically our circadian rhythms, they rely on very subtle environmental frequencies to keep every organ and cellular function on time. So when those subtle cues are overridden by much louder artificial signals, the body just loses its timing.
And that loss of timing is exactly the mission for this deep dive. We're exploring a fascinating presentation by Logan Warweg, and he addresses this exact collision between our biology and our modern environment.
Yeah, he really gets into the weeds on it.
He does. He breaks down the hidden impacts of what he calls electronic pollution. But he also outlines this ancient yet highly practical technique called earthing or grounding, and he presents it as this biological reset button.
Which we're going to impartially unpack today. We want to look at the mechanisms behind how our internal cues get scrambled by technology, according to the source, and then the specific energetic methods he proposes for reconnecting with the Earth.
Right. So before we get to the healing part, we need to understand the dissonance. And we need to start by defining the scale of this interference. Warwig presents this staggering metric. That the density of radio waves in our immediate environment right now is estimated to be 100 million to 200 million times higher than the natural background levels from the sun.
Which is just an astronomical jump. I mean, human beings evolved over millions of years, bathed in a very specific low-level electromagnetic environment.
Right, a very quiet environment, electrically speaking.
Exactly. And suddenly, in the blink of an evolutionary eye, we've just completely altered the electromagnetic background of our planet. Our bodies are essentially acting as antennas now, walking through this dense, invisible web of data and frequencies every single second.
Yeah, the presentation hones in specifically on extremely low frequencies, or ELFs. So these are electromagnetic fields vibrating at roughly 30 to 100 hertz.
Right, which is the range of basically everything around us.
Yeah, our appliances, our wiring, the Wi-Fi routers in our homes, they all operate in this range. And the source argues that because these ELFs are artificial and constant, they actively interfere with the environmental cues our bodies rely on.
They're just constantly buzzing in the background.
Exactly. It's like junk food for our circadian rhythm. And a prime example given in the text is the disruption of melatonin. So we think of melatonin as just a sleep hormone, right?
That's the common perception, yeah.
But it's actually a critical antioxidant that governs the body's nightly repair cycle.
Yeah.
And the source claims that looking at screens and absorbing this ambient radiation can delay the body's essential melatonin production for up to 4 hours.
Which is huge. And the mechanism behind that delay is really fascinating. The pineal gland, which produces the melatonin, it interprets specific light frequencies and electromagnetic fields to figure out what time of day it is.
Oh, so it's reading the environment.
Exactly. So when you're exposed to the blue light of a screen or the close-range radiation of a device, the pineal gland is essentially tricked into believing the sun is still high in the sky.
So it just suppresses the response.
Right. It suppresses the dark phase response. So if your cellular repair mechanisms require, say, a full 8 hours of melatonin saturation to heal tissue and clear metabolic waste, and you push that start time back by 4 hours, your body only gets half the repair time it needs.
You're just perpetually accumulating cellular damage.
Yeah, exactly.
But what is this dissonance actually doing on a cellular level? Because beyond just the loss of sleep, Warweg makes some really intense claims here. He lists 13 specific biological processes that are detrimentally affected.
Yeah, he really breaks down the systemic impact.
He points to impaired mitochondrial function, meaning the cellular engines that actually generate our energy are being suppressed. And he highlights disruptions to blood pH, which is critical for the immune system.
Well, we have to look at how a frequency actually changes something like blood pH or mitochondrial output, right?
Hmm.
Because our cells operate on millivolts. The cell membrane has these voltage-gated ion channels that open and close based on the electrical gradient of the body.
Okay, so they're triggered by electricity.
Yes. So when a constant 60 hertz field from your house wiring passes through your tissue, the presentation suggests it can cause those delicate ion channels to misfire.
Like they're getting the wrong signal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So calcium floods into the cell when it shouldn't, which alters the pH, creating a more acidic environment. And that acidic environment, as Warwick notes, becomes a breeding ground for bacterial, fungal, and parasitic growth.
Wow, so the interference is literally changing the electrochemical baseline of the tissue.
According to the source, yes, it's a fundamental shift.
The source also brings up gene expression, specifically targeting a gene called ZIF268, which governs memory storage in the brain,
Right. The implication there is that external frequencies can interfere with the signaling pathways that trigger the transcription necessary for cognitive consolidation.
which is terrifying.
Yeah.
But the statistic that really stands out in the text, whether you fully buy into the premise or not, is this claim about nutrient absorption.
Oh, yeah, the gut impact.
Yeah. Warweg states that hundreds of case studies show people experiencing heavy electromagnetic disturbance have severely compromised nutrient absorption rates. Like, optimal levels should be between 75 and 85%.
Right.
But under the stress of electronic pollution, that absorption drops down to just 15 to 25%.
Which is a massive drop, but it makes physiological sense if you view the body's response to ELFs as a chronic stress state.
How so?
Well, the enteric nervous system in the gut is highly sensitive. If the body's electrical system is constantly being bombarded by dissonant frequencies, the autonomic nervous system perceives that interference as a low-grade, constant threat.
So you're basically in fight or flight mode all the time.
Exactly. It shifts into sympathetic dominance. And when you're in fight or flight, the body shunts blood and energy away from the digestive tract. The permeability of the gut lining changes.
So you could be eating the healthiest food in the world.
You could be consuming the most nutrient-dense, pristine diet available, but if your gut is locked in a sympathetic stress response from the Wi-Fi router next to your desk, you simply lack the biological bandwidth to absorb those nutrients.
That is wild. So if this electronic dissonance is essentially starving our cells by blocking absorption and overriding our repair cycles, how did humans survive and thrive before modern medicine?
Right. What was our baseline?
Yeah, exactly. Which brings us to Warwig's proposed antidote. Flowing directly from all this cellular disruption, he introduces the concept of the Schumann resonance, which is described as the natural, energetic pulsation of the Earth itself.
Yeah, the Schumann resonance is a measurable global electromagnetic resonance. It's generated and excited by lightning discharges in the cavity formed by the Earth's surface and the ionosphere.
And it pulses at a very specific rate, right?
Yes, primarily at 7.83 hertz. And the presentation points out this profound biological correlation. 7.83 hertz falls exactly within the range of human alpha and theta brainwaves.
Oh, wow. Which is the state your brain enters when you're deeply relaxed or meditating or dreaming.
Exactly. Warwig's argument is that our biology evolved inside this specific frequency cavity. Being in resonance with this 7.83 hertz pulse is what properly synchronizes our endocrine system. It acts as the master conductor for our internal clocks.
And the text uses jet lag as a perfect, relatable example of losing this synchronization. I mean, anyone who has flown across an ocean knows that disembodied, exhausting feeling.
Oh, absolutely. It's awful.
Right. And Warwick characterizes jet lag not just as a time zone mismatch, but as a severe disruption of this bioresonance. You've been hurled through the sky in a metal tube moving at high speeds, completely disconnected from the Earth's steady surface pulse.
You're literally uprooted.
Yeah. And the physical solution he provides for jet lag is to simply take off your shoes and walk barefoot on the wet grass or beach sand to literally retune the body.
And the mechanics of that are really interesting. The physical practice of earthing or grounding operates on two mechanical fronts, according to the presentation. First, it facilitates voltage equalization.
Meaning we hold a charge.
Yeah, your body accumulates a positive charge from all the artificial radiation and static electricity in the modern environment. By making direct physical contact with the Earth, which is electrically conductive, you ground out that stored chaotic energy.
You give the dissonance a place to exit.
Exactly. And second, the Earth acts as an infinite reservoir of free negative electrons. When you stand barefoot on the soil, your body draws those electrons up through the soles of your feet.
Let's break down why drawing in negative electrons is so vital for the healing process. Because Warweg relies heavily on this book, Earthing by Clinton Ober, Dr. Stephen T. Sinatra, and Martin Zucker.
Yes, that's a key source for him.
Right, and it contains these extensive case studies on inflammation reduction. So inflammation is largely driven by free radicals. And a free radical is simply a molecule missing an electron.
It's unstable.
Exactly. Because it's unstable, it tears through healthy tissue, damaging cells just to steal an electron and stabilize itself.
And that is the exact mechanism of oxidative stress. So if a free radical needs an electron to stop destroying tissue, and the Earth provides a limitless supply of free electrons, then grounding essentially floods the body with nature's most potent antioxidant.
That makes total sense.
Right. The free radicals pair with the electrons drawn from the Earth, neutralizing the systemic inflammation. And the visual evidence highlighted in the presentation shows massive reductions in total body inflammation tracked via thermal imaging.
And the required dosage to see these changes isn't even a radical lifestyle shift. The source suggests you can initiate significant inflammation-reducing benefits from just 20 to 30 minutes of earthing once a week.
Which is very accessible for most people.
Yeah, just half an hour a week. But we're looking at a very tangible physical transaction of electrons here. And Warweg elevates this concept significantly. He doesn't want you to just stand passively in the park.
No, he takes it a step further.
He bridges the physical act of grounding into a dedicated energetic practice. He introduces the concept of prana, or vital life energy. The source provides a specific visualization technique designed to actively accelerate the earthing process by creating a strong, continuous current through the body.
And this visualization requires focusing on the body's energy centers. Warweg advises starting with the crown chakra at the top of the head. You visualize it as a blooming flower opening to receive a pure white or golden light, which is the prana.
I can picture that.
Right, and this energy enters through the top of the head and washes down through the body. Simultaneously, you visualize roots growing out of the soles of your feet, plunging deep into the conductive earth.
So by directing this flow, you aren't just a passive object absorbing electrons anymore. You're acting as a deliberate conduit. The energy comes in through the crown, sweeps through the nervous system, and exits through the feet, carrying out those discordant frequencies we talked about.
Exactly. And the underlying goal, as Warwick describes it, is to charge the multidimensional body. He suggests that we are not just physical flesh, but a series of overlapping energetic fields.
So it's building a defense.
Yes, this deep diaphragmatic breathing and visualization supposedly strengthens the aura, creating an impenetrable magnetic shield around the practitioner.
Wow.
And the presentation adds a crucial emotional amplifier to this current. Warweg states that tapping into high vibrational emotions, specifically gratitude, compassion, and love, drastically multiplies the influx of prana.
Oh, so your mood actually changes the mechanics of it.
According to the theory, yes. There's an interesting physiological correlation here regarding heart-brain coherence. When a person actively feels deep gratitude or compassion, their heart rhythm becomes highly coherent, and the heart generates the largest electromagnetic field in the human body.
Much larger than the brain, right?
Exactly. So by consciously maintaining those specific emotional states while grounding, the theory is that you are expanding your own coherent magnetic field, making it far more resilient against the chaotic, localized electronic pollution we encounter every day.
I mean, that sounds like a beautiful, powerful practice if you have the time and space to stand in a quiet garden.
Sure.
But we have to scrutinize how this applies to modern reality. Because most people work in dense office buildings completely saturated with Wi-Fi routers. And they sleep in apartments surrounded by smart meters and cellular towers.
It's unavoidable for a lot of us.
Right. So if these extremely low frequencies are penetrating concrete walls, how does the presentation address protecting the body indoors?
Yeah.
Because the source recommends tools like tiny diode stickers for your phone, which honestly raises a logical question for me.
What's that?
Is it really as simple as putting a diode sticker near your phone's antenna? Like, how does a small sticker protect your entire body from a room full of ambient, bouncing radio waves?
It's a fair question, and it's an important distinction to make regarding how the source claims these indoor tools function. Devices like phone diodes aren't described as physical walls that block the signal entirely.
Because if they did, your phone wouldn't work.
Right, you wouldn't be able to receive a call. Instead, the theory presented is that these materials alter the localized field geometry. By placing a specific crystalline or metallic diode directly over the antenna, it supposedly harmonizes or scrambles the coherent, destructive near-field radiation right at the source.
Oh, before it even gets to you.
Exactly. Before it enters the biological tissue of your brain, it acts as an energetic baffle rather than a concrete wall.
Okay, that makes more sense in the context of their theory. And the presentation heavily emphasizes shunite as the premier material for this kind of mitigation.
Yes, shunite is a big focus.
Warweg points to the specific molecular structure of this stone to explain its efficacy. Because shunite contains fullerenes, which are essentially hollow, spherical cages of carbon atoms, often called buckyballs.
Right, they have a very unique geometry.
Yeah, this geodesic dome structure. And the claim is that fullerenes act on a molecular level to trap, scatter, and neutralize harmful EMFs without blocking the actual data transmission of the device.
And Warwig references the work of Dr. Delbert Blair and the Meta Center Chicago to introduce a wider arsenal of these physical tools. They offer items utilizing these principles, ranging from shunite pendants to strengthen the personal aura, to orgone pyramids designed to neutralize the ambient energy of an entire room.
There's a whole industry around this.
Oh, absolutely. There are also wearable solutions like EMF-blocking beanies, seat cushions, and prana accumulator blankets designed to insulate the body's electrical field while you're working or traveling.
But the most intensive indoor solution he focuses on revolves around the bedroom. Because if the body requires deep sleep to execute its cellular repair, like we talked about with melatonin, the sleeping environment is paramount.
It's the most important room in the house.
And Warwig points out a hidden danger in standard modern beds: metal bed frames and metal box springs.
Oh, this part is fascinating.
Yeah, he claims these coiled metal structures act exactly like parabolic antennas. They actively catch the ambient radio frequencies in your bedroom from your router, from the cell tower down the street, and amplify them directly into your tissue for 8 hours a night.
Which is exactly what you don't want while you're trying to heal.
Right. So the proposed solution to this massive exposure is a grounding mattress or an earthing mat.
Yeah, so this is a conductive surface placed on the bed that features a wire you physically plug into the grounding port of your wall outlet, or you run it outside directly into the earth.
So it's bringing the grass into your bedroom, essentially.
The mechanism is identical to standing barefoot in the grass, yes. It bypasses the metal antenna effect of the bed frame, giving the ambient radiation a path of least resistance into the ground, while simultaneously pulling free electrons up into your body throughout the entire sleep cycle.
And Warweg actually offers a very practical, non-metaphysical step to take before you even buy a grounding mat. He says to use a standard EMF reader.
Which are pretty affordable.
Yeah, there's simple electronic devices that measure ambient electromagnetic fields. He advises scanning the walls all around your bed. You might discover a hidden radiation source, like a complex wiring junction or a smart meter attached to the exterior wall right behind your headboard that is just bathing your brain in ELFs while you try to sleep.
And moving your bed to the other side of the room could instantly change your exposure level.
Exactly, just physically moving away from the source.
The entire presentation is ultimately an exercise in environmental awareness. Whether the solution is wearing affordable blue light blocking glasses to protect the pineal gland's melatonin production, placing a fullerene-rich piece of shunite on your desk, or wiring your bed directly to the earth, Warweg is offering a spectrum of methods to defend the body's delicate circuitry against an invisible onslaught.
Yeah, and bringing this deep dive full circle, we are really looking at a paradigm shift in how we view our daily habitat here. The source presents a reality where the convenient, invisible waves powering our modern lives are actively warring with our biology. They're acting as the background noise, throwing our biological instrument out of tune.
But the empowering takeaway, I think, is that the instrument itself is perfectly designed.
Yes.
Our bodies possess an incredible inherent intelligence to self-repair and thrive. We simply have to prioritize giving them the correct environmental cues.
Right. Maybe that means neutralizing your workspace. Or maybe it just means taking 30 minutes this week to take off your shoes, stand in the wet grass, and intentionally step out of the dissonance and back into resonance.
It requires an active choice to maintain our evolutionary baseline in a world that is constantly pushing us away from it. The tools and practices outlined provide a framework for navigating that modern environment without sacrificing our foundational electrical health.
Well said. And as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a final thought that builds on the implications of this source material. Think back to that claim about our ability to absorb vital nutrients, dropping down to just 15% when we are disconnected from the Earth's natural frequency.
It's a sobering statistic.
It really is. So it's a simple lack of physical, barefoot contact with the soil can theoretically suppress our biological engines that drastically. What other natural biological superpowers are lying completely dormant within us? What capacities for healing, cognition, and longevity are just waiting for us to take off our rubber-soled shoes and plug back into the planet we evolved on? Keep that in mind the next time you find yourself near a patch of green grass. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.